All right. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Doug, I am terrific. How are you and your Poochie, your
Oh,
poodle Shih
doing,
Tzu? Are you guys doing well?
yeah, we're doing just fine. He
Yeah,
seems to be okay. Once I start talking, he goes to sleep. At least when I do the audio show, he does.
I hope
So we'll
that doesn't
see.
mean you're boring. That would be really embarrassing.
I think it's like singing to the baby,
Oh, is that what it, right? It's the
Yeah,
lullaby. Yeah,
rockabye baby.
yeah.
So you are officially the cat lady? Is that your
No,
name?
actually, the dog lady who then became the cat lady. I wrote the dog Bible first and then the cat Bible. I have my NPR radio show Dog Talk and Kitties too, and then I had my show Cat Chat on Sirius and started the Dog Film Festival and then started the Cat Film Festival. So I think I lead with dog and then I morph into cat.
Oh, I see. Okay. So do you have both? Do you have dogs and
I
cats?
don't because I used to for years. I always had some of each, as it were. But then I adopted Weimaraners, who the Weimaraner Rescue neglected to say that they're fairly well known for being cat killers, chase slash kill. And the first Weimaraner I adopted wasn't a problem. And then I adopted a second one, and it turned out to be true. They never killed any of my kitties, but I had a friend whose cat, one of her cats had died, and the other was in mourning. So she adopted one of mine, and another one who'd lost her only cat, and she adopted my other one. So they went to really great homes where they were safe from killer dogs.
I'm trying to think of what a Weimaraner looks like.
Well, you know the work of William Wegman, the photographic artist that dresses dogs up in human costumes.
Oh, dogs playing poker?
Not quite, a little more subtle, a little more modern than that. But if you, William Wegman's work is in many museums around the world, but he has Weimaraners and he's made the breed famous because he puts them in strange configurations. At one point on the New York City bus system, his dogs were all lying down in the shape of letters of the alphabet for Sesame Street,
Oh,
like curled. Or he's very clever. He's also a painter, but he's well beloved
I'll
artist and dog
I'll
lover.
look him up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll
I'll
get a
check
kick
it
out
out.
of it. He puts them in clothes, but it's very hard to explain. It's always kind of sardonic, wry, sarcastic, commentary on the world, or he has a Weimaraner puppy on a rusted out old truck in the middle of the woods. So the puppy looks like he and the truck are both primordial. He's a pretty cool artist.
Okay, I'll have to check
So
that
that
out.
that way you'll see what a Weimaraner looks like.
Okay. So what are you up to now? What are you doing?
Well, I'm working on the next iteration of the dog and cat film festivals. We lost hope with there being a live premiere in New York this fall, 2020. So we have the streaming versions, which is great for people that want to see bits and pieces of all the prior dog and cat film festivals. They can see them free on Amazon Prime or Tubi TV. But we just now decided, breaking news on the Douglas Coleman Show, that we are going to give the sixth annual Dog Film Festival and the third annual Cat Film Festival to all the independent theaters in Canada and the US. And even apparently there's somebody in Melbourne that wants them, which would be great. And let them do the virtual screenings that are helping keep the small independent movie theaters alive. You know, all the releases in the last 6 months have been virtual. Nothing much in the US, nothing really happening in the theaters. So that's where people will see it, that the in-person experience with or without your dog on your lap, with or without fellow dog lovers in the theater, will be missing, but more people will have access to it. So now I'm putting together, I've had great submissions for the next one. This is before anyone knew there was a COVID. You know, everyone thought, well, we'll just keep on keeping on. So I have great films for next year in New York City and then around the country in actual theaters. I hope people will realize there's a world out there and they at some point will be safe and eager to leave their homes and be entertained outside them. I mean, that remains to be seen, right? We don't know how people's habits are going to change.
Well, the news media keeps taunting this phrase "new normal,"
Right. Hmm.
and nobody knows exactly what that's going to be.
Absolutely right.
But if it's going to be no more concerts, no more, then I don't think so.
I agree. Yeah, concerts is a really big shared experience, and so are
Yeah,
sports events, being
sure.
there together. And that was always my theory with the dog and cat film festivals, that I was already railing being a bit strong of a word, concerned that people, certainly the younger generation, nowadays I think that's anybody under 40, were stuck to their devices. They didn't even relate to the humans in their environment. They were just looking at a device all the time. They thought you could look at a movie on something the size of your hand. Well, you can technically, but it's an offense to anyone who's an actual filmmaker or screenwriter or actor. It's not meant to
Here,
be
here.
seen on a postcard, you know?
Yes.
So my thought was, let's get people that have a shared passion, which is animals, and think of it as, why do people go to church? People can pray on their own. They want to be in a room with people who are spiritually and passionately aligned with them. And I do
Right.
think that that's how a lot of people feel about pets. It is a spiritual devotion. People feel really strongly, passionately, happily about their relationship with their dogs or cats. And it's a great experience to be able to feel that surrounded by other people who, the minute that a kitten comes up on the screen, they go, oh, and everyone goes, oh. It's so funny because, outsiders outside of the pet passionate audience are like, it's just a cat, but not to people who love them, or vice versa with dogs, mushers in the Iditarod. Everyone's going, oh my God, look at that. So sharing the experience is really important, but there's no point in extolling those virtues now. We can't do anything much together. It's pretty bad.
I have a quick story to tell you from a friend of mine who is a major dog lover.
Good.
She is in the process of writing, I think, an audiobook, well, recording an audiobook, to help people with their grieving process when they lose a pet. And I thought it was interesting because there really wasn't anything quite like that out there that she knew of. And she said that what inspired it was her dog died after 15 years. She had the dog. And nobody around her gave any sympathy. People have plenty of sympathy if your mother dies, or your father, or your friend, or something.
Right.
But when one of your dogs die, people go,
Where does she live? Do you know?
She's in England. She's in
England.
Oxford.
Well, it's interesting for her to know that there are a number of books about it. And in fact, one of the films in the Dog Film Festival, which I then asked the filmmaker, who's British, to slightly alter for the Cat Film Festival, is specifically around this issue, grieving. And there are pet loss support grief groups in England, as there are in America, a number of them, as well as books about it. There can never be too many, so she should carry on with what she's doing. But that is always the lament, that the grief can be much more profound than the loss of a human family member, and that makes people, the people who are suffering, confused, guilty, but feeling no less torturously grieved. And other people that have not loved and lost a pet are in fact, well, why don't you just get another one? But in fact, in the pet loving community, the RSPCA and veterinarians and so forth in England, they're aware of it. They're very aware of it. And there are grief support groups. And there's memorial, I think even at my own vet here in Vermont, once a month on a Wednesday night, anyone who's ever lost a pet can come together, and there's candles and soft music, and people just talk about their feelings about the loss, their happy memories. So there are people to support each other. It's just to find that group. Society as a whole is never going to give a hoot if they're not already pet owners, right?
Well, I think maybe that was her problem. I think there was the people that she was associated with, and she needed a day or two off from work, and I guess she got fired because
Good grief.
she didn't. So she was in a bad situation about it.
Understandably, yeah. There's no point trying to convert somebody to your way of thinking. The important thing is not to go to those people for comfort or wisdom. You have to seek out people that understand. It's like, the kind of a flip side is a non-alcoholic has no idea what goes on in Alcoholics Anonymous or what those people are doing for each other. So those are the people you talk to if you have that problem. So I
Good
think you need to
point.
find a community that shares the thing that is disturbing you or in hampering your moving forward in the case of grief over losing an animal. It's a wonderful movie that's in the film festival. It's really good.
Let's go back to the film festival for a second, because I think people who don't quite understand what it's all about need a little clarification. The content is what? People film their pets, people make movies with dogs,
Well,
people, what is it?
it depends on who the people are. If they're already a filmmaker, then yes to those questions. The thing that's confusing about the word festival is that when I first conceived it, I am a film buff. I've written movies, I've been in movies, I've lived for 23 years in LA, and I adore movies even if I hadn't. And I've been to many film festivals, which usually take place over multiple days with multiple conflicting screenings from morning until night. And you buy tickets to the thing you want to see, and you stand in line, and you get sold out. And it's all very exciting and fascinating and exhausting and so forth. So I thought I could have a dog film festival that would all be in one day. And it would be short films, because there's very few full-length movies made about dogs, much less about cats, that very few made, period, and very few that I think are quality as films, entertainments or enlightenments. So originally, when I did the first one in New York in 2015, there were 4 2-hour blocks of short films. It was way too much. There were hardcore people that went to all 4 screenings, but even your average dog or lover, there was no cat film festival then. It was a little overwhelming. You know, your eyes are bleeding after 4 hours or 6 hours. So I pared it down eventually to now a 2-hour screening. So the films that travel in America and Canada to theaters, which, as I said, I hope one day they will again, are 2 hours of shorts, and they're animated or live action, meaning narrative with a script and actors and lighting and so forth, or they're documentaries, of which there's a lot. The streaming ones that are free on Amazon Prime and Tubi TV are 75 minutes long. And I've taken sort of the choice films from the prior 5 years and made volumes. So there's, I think, 7 volumes of the Dog Film Festival online for free and 3 of the cat. So they're short films, and that's another challenge for people. Your average film goer has never seen a short subject. They don't exist anymore. In olden days, in the movie theaters,
Right.
there would be 1 or 2 shorts before the feature.
The feature.
So you
yeah.
kind of got used to it. It would either be a little cartoon or be a little documentary, or maybe even in the olden days, a newsreel.
Yeah.
So now the only time people see shorts is when they're not the nominated ones for the Oscars, which is very few of the many shorts made in the world, are made into a reel, which this independent theaters then charge money for you to come and see. But it's confusing because you're only seeing the ones that are nominated for an Oscar, and there's one that's all animation, and there's one that's all documentary and or narrative, and you don't really know what you're going to get. So they're very popular. The film theaters do well with them, but most people aren't used to seeing a film that's 6 minutes long or 16 minutes long. I don't have any that are 60 minutes long, but it's a different mindset. It's almost like reading short stories instead of a novel, or reading poetry instead of a magazine article, or maybe like a magazine article, depends. So it's short forays. I sort of think of it as a magic carpet ride into many different countries, many different topics, many different points of view, most of them made by people who've been to film school and or have made a film or two, and some first timers who just thought, I can do this on my iPhone. And then they do voiceover. Depending on if it's from the animal's point of view, you need a voiceover or subtitles. Right. But it's a mixed bag of many different styles. And I always sort of say, well, if you loved the first one, you might not love the second one, but you might love the third one, because it's like a buffet, a smorgasbord of different styles. But all the topics are either dog or cat.
Super. Tracie, we got to wrap this up. We've run out of time, unfortunately. Can you give us a website?
Yeah, the website, well, Amazon, if you want to see the streaming, you just go to Amazon Prime or Tubi TV and do whatever you do. Put in the name Dog Film Festival and or Cat Film Festival. But I have a really pretty website called the Dog Film Festival and the Cat Film Festival. So go there and you can look at trailers and see what the films are. And there's a link there to the streaming as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me here.
We have a trailer that we're going to show. It's like I think it's an ad. So just because you're here, come here. Come on. I'm going to bring him up here and sit on my lap.
Let him watch. They love to see.
And then we're going to watch your film clip. You want to watch Tracie's film clip?
Yes, go for it.
You want to watch it? Okay. Here we go.
I found a way to relieve my depression.
I found a way to lower my cholesterol.
I found a way to strengthen my immune system.
I found better health with Cat.
In clinical studies, prescription-strength CAT has been shown to be effective in strengthening your immune system, preventing allergies in children, lowering cholesterol and triglyceride levels, reducing stress, and decreasing anxiety and depression. Side effects may include difficulty breathing because a cat is sleeping on your face, trouble working because a cat is on your computer, issues packing because a cat is in your suitcase. You may experience trouble peeing because your cat is staring at you. You may spend all day posting pictures of your cat on social media. Some cat owners experience nausea at the sight of dead rodents on their doorstep. Things may fall from tall surfaces and break because your cat knocked it off and doesn't give a kitty litter. You may feel a strange sensation that you don't own your cat and that your cat actually owns you. Discover better health. Ask your veterinarian about CAT.